You already know that ACM is typically inherited, but you might not know exactly what that genetic legacy means for you quite yet. That uncertainty can make it hard to make good healthcare choices at first. But if all of us in this community could do it, so can you. After I was stabilized in the hospital, I needed to begin to make decisions about my treatment path, but I totally froze. I was just overwhelmed. I have to admit, I was angry too. Why me? I felt way out of my depth, and I didn't understand what had caused me to get so sick all of a sudden. My physical exam and the recordings of my heartbeat waves on the ECG showed some irregularities. That gave doctors more specific clues about what might be wrong with my heart. So the medical team targeted my family history. When I look back now, it seems so clear how arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy ran straight through my family. My mama helped me tell the doctors about her side of the family first. Other than a little high cholesterol, diabetes, and some family history of cancer, she didn't share anything from her side that seemed to point to what was happening with me. Then we turned to my daddy's side. My nonno, my grandfather, is still with us, but I never knew my nonna, my daddy's mama. She was only 35 when she went to sleep one night and never woke up. Nobody ever seemed to know why. And my daddy was only 33 when he died. He seemed perfectly healthy one day, and he was gone the next. I was 11. They called it a heart attack at the time, but now we think it's more likely that he had ACM too. Once the doctors took my family history, we started to talk about genetic tests. Your DNA is like the instruction manual for how different parts of your body are supposed to look and work. Think of a genetic mutation as a missing or misplaced page in that manual. Most people with ACM carry very specific genetic mutations that affect the way the heart cells are bound together. So, genetic testing can help you with initial diagnosis, possible predictors of disease severity over time, and family risk factors. But it's important to remember that not everyone with these genetic mutations will develop arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy, so there are other tests the doctors may perform to confirm your diagnosis, like a high-resolution ECG or echocardiogram, where they look at your heart using sound waves. If you do have ACM, more mutations in certain genes could mean that your disease might progress faster. Since ACM is inherited, it may also affect other members of your family, even if they aren't showing any symptoms of the condition. They may want to consider getting tested too. So, genetic testing can give you a lot of useful information to work with in your treatment plan and help you know more about what to expect with ACM progression. Did you know 12 little genes are critical to how ACM works? Those 12 genes help control the quality of the protein glue, or desmosomes, that knit your heart cells together. If the protein glue works like it should, the cells are locked tight to each other. See the blue and green bars in the diagram? Those are part of a healthy set of desmosomes connecting two heart muscle cells. If you have a combination of genetic mutations that activates ACM, then that protein glue gradually starts to fail, so fat and scar tissue barge in where they don't belong. See how the blue and green bars have broken apart and big blobs have taken over? That's the fat and scar tissue sneaking in and weakening the whole structure. It's kind of like building a brick wall with poor quality mortar, or a wooden structure with faulty fasteners. It might look strong at first and work for a while like it's supposed to, but it just doesn't last. It's scary to think about, but it starts to break apart bit by bit, and eventually the whole thing can fail without help. When this process happens in arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy, it can change the basic shape and structure of your heart. The remaining muscle of the heart wall can stretch really thin. The lower chambers can even enlarge and weaken as the heart cells struggle to keep together and do their jobs. This can happen on either side of the heart, or both, depending on the severity of your case. You can see the invasion of extra fat and scar tissue here. Wherever it's replacing muscle, it makes it progressively harder for your heart to pump enough blood where it needs to go. As you lose healthy heart muscle, the invading tissue begins to block the electrical signals that usually trigger a normal heartbeat. Your heart might flutter, pound, or it might feel like it's skipping beats. As the disease progresses, ACM can also cause heart failure or sudden cardiac arrest. It's kind of like when a storm damages electrical poles and lines. Places that aren't too damaged can keep supplying power, even if it's a little spottier than usual. It's different when the damage is too extensive. Without a way to conduct that all-important electricity, those areas go dark. Luckily, your doctors have multiple options to help the electrical signals along in your heart. We'll talk about those in more detail in the treatment section. ACM stole so much from my family, but I'm determined to beat it. When I finally got my diagnosis and started to understand more about the genetic origins and disease process of ACM, I realized even more how lucky I am to have this second chance. I promised myself then that I would fight as hard as I could to stay well, and I wouldn't be afraid to advocate for my needs with my healthcare team. Your loved ones and friends need you to fight hard too. Our secret weapon is knowledge. By educating ourselves about ACM, we can all be active participants in our treatment and work toward better health outcomes. Knowledge is power. Here's a toast to your very good health. If you'd like more information about the causes of ACM, please check out the other offerings in this section. Thanks for watching.